upper-lower training split is one of the most effective, versatile, and easy to write training plans there is, which is why it's also the most commonly used, suggested, and proven training program out there. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create an upper-lower training program in just 7 simple steps, so that by the end of this video, you'll be able to design a training program that can be effectively used for any beginner, intermediate, or even advanced lifter. Step number 1 is very simple. You have to schedule your workout. So looking at the calendar week, decide which days of the week you want to lift. This is not going to include any type of cardio, any walking, any conditioning. We are just talking about your 4 lifting days. I'm going to suggest a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Step number 2 is to create an activation circuit that's going to be placed at the very beginning of each session throughout the week. This is where we use our body weight or small bits of resistance like a band to increase the tension and activation of muscles that support the joints in which we will be moving and using throughout the session. Step 3, we are going to pick a compound lift. So what this looks like is pretty simple. Day 1 upper body, we might do a bench press, while day 2 upper body, we might do an overhead press. Whereas on legs, we might do a squat pattern on one lower body day, and we might do a hip hinge for the compound on the other lower body day. Step 4 is adding our pre-lift primers. This is an explosive exercise that actually primes our nervous system and gets us ready for the movement ahead. Step number 5 is to choose an accessory exercise and or superset based on the opposite day's compound lift. This means that I'm going to do a bench press, and then the first accessory exercise of that day is going to be some kind of overhead press, be that a single arm kettlebell press, landmine press, or a dumbbell military press. On the next upper body day, when I'm doing a vertical compound pressing movement, I'm going to do the same thing, except it's going to be a horizontal pressing and pulling movement for my first accessory of the day. On the lower body squat day, my first accessory is a hip hinge. And on my lower body hinge day, my first accessory is a squat movement. Step number 6 is where we add supplemental isolation exercises. What I suggest doing at this point in the session is to pick a weak link and just hammer it with some good volume. Most of the time for an upper body session, this is where I am putting extra rows into play. Now, on a lower body day, I might actually superset this by doing a quad and a hamstring exercise. It might be a quad and a glute exercise. It might be a glute and a hamstring exercise if the person either needs to work on their posterior chain, or I have a female client whose primary muscle building goal is to build her glutes. And the final step, step number 7, is to add the optional metabolic finisher. So if you have a goal of athleticism or conditioning, then I would suggest doing some kind of sled push pull and farmer's carry combo. If your goal is purely fat loss and caloric expenditure, jump on the assault bike and do some intervals. And if your goal is just to build more muscle, maybe this is where you throw in some extra volume on your glutes, your calves, or maybe even doing some kind of crazy complex on the leg extension machine going to failure. Either way, what we're doing here is targeting a metabolic pathway. This could be metabolic conditioning, or it could be very high rep volume based sets for hypertrophy that are targeting metabolite accumulation, which again is a metabolic pathway that leads to muscle growth. And that concludes the 7 steps to help you build an effective upper lower split.